What is up, everybody? Welcome to a very special bonus of episode of the Fig Guys. I'm the OG Fig Kid, Thomas Montalto. Joining me, as usual, my hot tag partner.
What's going on, everybody? It's good old Mike B. And guys, we got a special treat for you because the most professional wrestler, the Scottie Pippen of wrestling figure collecting, has joined us here on Fig Guys. Brian Myers, ladies and gentlemen. Brian, thanks for joining us, buddy.
What's up, boys? The intro got me all boned up to talk about toys. What's going on?
Yeah.
Listen, we're always excited to talk about toys, especially our little rubber guys in underwear.
Yeah.
Rubber guys.
Well, that's my favorite line in wrestling today. But
Wow.
I was a LJN kid, so
Yeah.
so let's start off. I'm going to start off with the same question we asked Matt when he was on. So I feel like the wrestling figure boom, it's been going well for many years now, but I feel without the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, it's not where it is. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I guess I don't have a problem acknowledging that. It wasn't, on purpose. We just kind of were looking to do something fun. We did not know what would come of all this, and it kind of feels like a lot of it kind of has gone hand in hand, right? A lot of the boom and a lot of these companies and a lot of the innovations and things. I think it was like building up this community or making this community have a voice is really what the difference was, right? Because community was always there. We just didn't really have spokespeople or avenues to get the word out, and I feel like we inadvertently did that, and that was never the idea. We just wanted to talk about toys because, like I said, that's what we were always doing in the cars anyway, and it was cool to finally be open and honest about it, and all these like wonderful things came from it, and we're years from that initial decision now, so it's been quite the journey.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, coming from, your tenure in WWE, doing your thing. I mean, you guys come out, you start the podcast, COVID happens, all this crazy stuff's going on. Collectors are going rampant. I mean, it couldn't have been a more perfect storm, honestly. And it's for me, I mean, I've been collecting my entire life. I know Tom has, and I know a lot of our listeners have. And we thank you guys so much for being those people, because without you guys, I mean, me and Tom wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have a toy display in my living room, for God's sakes. Right. That's for damn sure.
And then, and the appreciation is mutual. We thank you guys for coming along, because then if it wasn't with all you guys, being along for the ride, it would just be me and Matt, and I don't know if much would have got accomplished.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks to you guys, I've made so many friends in the group, but just talking to other collectors, like a lot of us probably had nobody else to talk to about it before you guys.
Oh,
so like
we were in the same exact situation, except we were WWE superstars, so it's like
probably even harder,
even worse. Yeah, it was much worse. We didn't want fucking Bob Holly to know we collected action figures. It was like a nightmare. So it was like a deep, dark secret. It was good to get out of the collector closet, if you will.
Absolutely.
I feel like even backstage, though, it's more accepted and cool now, right? Than
I don't even think anyone even bats an eye at it anymore, which is incredible. People go out of their way to, even if they don't collect wrestling figures per se, they'll see Matt or I and be like, "Hey, I got Hot Toys," or "Hey, I'm into this," or it's like kind of cool that that's what we've become. And then the other thing that we've really become is like the advice guys, like, "Oh, where can I find this?" Or "I'm thinking about making this to sell to my fans. You think that's something?" We've become like those guys too, which I take pride in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I mean, talk about that coming full circle. I mean, you guys start CollectMajor. You got the big rubber guys. You got Major Bendies. You got the major stars coming. But like giving back to not just the fan base and the collectors, but the wrestlers themselves, man. I mean, it's so awesome as the fans to see you guys doing that with, the big rubber guys and, the deals and stuff behind them. I mean, how awesome is that going to be? You got people like Tommy Dreamer going, "Thank you for the payday."
Right.
It's badass, man.
Right. So again, not something we really visualized. That was really Michael Canick is the one to thank for all that, because he had the vision of that, where Matt and I definitely didn't have the vision of what that could become. And then because we didn't have that vision, we didn't see all these things that would come of it. We obviously have this. We both been wrestling 21 years. It's 42 years of a Rolodex of knowing everybody in the business pretty much. It's very rare that we can't track somebody's information down and get a hold of somebody to talk business. Yeah, and then people like that to just be like, to feel appreciated, in toy form, because there's definitely that goes a long way, when you see yourself immortalized like that. But then, like, obviously there is the financial aspect of it, when you see these people at conventions are going, oh shit, thank you,
Yeah.
a couple times Sabu said, Jesus Christ, you don't know how bad I needed this. Where you're like, shit, makes you feel good to be a part of that.
And even giving guys figures who's never even had them before, their first figure, like that's got to be a cool feeling too.
For sure. Yeah, I'm actually like, I was thinking about it recently. I'm excited to like, present Missy Hyatt with her big rubber guy and stuff, because someone who's been around for 40 something years and doesn't have an action figure, that's definitely going to be cool.
That blows my mind that she hasn't had a figure,
especially this day and age where we're getting multiple roadblock figures. Like,
everybody's
so
diving deep into the well.
They're willing to make these toys and take a chance. That it was much more scarce back in the day.
Yeah.
So that, like, the big rubber guys, I said it before, my favorite line. I grew up on LJNs. I was at the store the first day they were released. My parents never let me get the black card, so I always had a dream of fulfilling that series. And like I told Matt, I don't even care if I get them anymore, because every month I'm getting new big rubber guys. Like, and I'm a completist. They're so seamless in the line. Like, you put them right next to each other, you wouldn't, like, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know that these are new and those were from 40 years ago.
Right. That was the goal.
And you nailed them. Like, other people have tried, but nobody has come close to what you guys have done.
I think that was also the kind of the talk. Like, well, this has happened before, but as true wrestling figure super fans, me, Matt, and Kinnick were like, well, no one's really done it like exact. It's kind of been like ish. We were like, let's do it exact, and I feel like that's going to hit people in the fields where they're going to feel like they need to be a part of this.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Every time Tom gets a shipment of big rubber guys, and like I'm excited for him when he's opening them. Like, he does the smell test. Like, I get it, and it's such a cool thing to like just see people being happy with what they grew up on, and the nostalgia feels.
That's what collecting is, period. Right? It just makes you happy. Yeah. So.
Absolutely.
100%. And I saw all the Hasbro companies, so many, and like I wanted LJNs. And then you guys announced it, and it's just like the demolition at first, and like amazing, just amazing. And they just happen, like, they just keep getting better. I don't even understand how they could get any better than what you guys have done. But
so much improvement too, because we're small company, growing, learning, all of us, as designers, sculptors, businessmen, there's room to grow in every aspect. So by proxy, the product's going to get better.
I mean, I asked Matt this too, and now I heard on the pod last week you guys saying possibly down the line, maybe you guys can make AEW figures with the joint venture with Jazzwares. You have the Mark Starlin figure coming out. Like the dreams are endless. Like, there's so much that could possibly happen.
Even the movie stuff that we launched last month. That's this. To me, the goal is just any property in the form of Big Rubber Guy. We're open to it. If you've got a brand. We've got a figure form that we'd like to take that leap with, and especially things in like 80s and 90s genres, I think, is the wheelhouse. But we're open to anything, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I
love the Rambo, man. Such a cool, it's such a cool get, and like it's one of those things. Like, I'm not a Rambo guy, but I get the lore behind it. I get the love behind it. So seeing it happen, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I bought the Jay and Silent Bob stuff. Like, that's more of my shtick, but I was like, hell yeah, man. Like, to see you guys
more of that coming too.
Hell yeah. I love to hear it. But seeing you guys venture in like these different ballparks, so cool. Like, it's the possibilities are endless for collectors, and it's got to be so cool to be providing that to the collectors out there.
Yep. And just the creativity and that goes along with it and stuff is super fun.
Yeah.
What about seeing one of your students get in their first figures? That's got to be hit on a whole different level.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of my favorite things these days of collecting. To be honest with you, I was lucky there. I had that like flurry where like I even kind of count Alex and Johnny, the Dark Order, just because I've known them since they started and I've been friends with them for so long, and it meant a lot for me to see them, made as wrestling figures, and I knew it would mean a lot to them as well. So that was incredible. And Kristen, Statlander, both Maxes, and Caster's took a bit longer, so that was exciting to see. And Caster was a day one, first day we opened the doors at Creative Pro signee, so that was like especially cool for me to see that, come to life.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on this Smart Mark Sterling. And who's next? I know a lot of people talking about Bear Bronson after last weekend, so you never know.
Dude, that would be awesome. I'm loving it. But yeah, it's so cool. I mean, to think about the length it took to get that Alex Reynolds out and everything, like the moments that I mean, I was helping AEW out Jazzwares with the Fan Fest and stuff like that. And that was my takeaway from it, is like, it's so cool to see Superman get to see his toy and for the first time,
Right.
I mean, that's collecting for me now, is that magic.
Wrestling's a different beast in the toy world that people don't realize. I had to explain this to TNA higher ups recently, because the Power Towns are taking a long time, and I still very confident they're going to be absolutely incredible and worthwhile.
Yeah.
But they were like, well, Josh and Jordan are gone. And I'm like, well, that's the risk you take with wrestling. You know what I mean? If you start making a Batman figure, he's not going to up and leave you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's going to be what it is. He's going to be in the movie, and that's going to be end of story. This is just the risk you take. I said WWE and AEW pretty much at all times have product out with talent that have, set sail. So it's just risk you take. And I said, and also, I don't know if it's really such a terrible problem to have, the only Josh Alexander figure on the market and the only Jordan Grace figure. I think that might be pretty okay for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think it's almost better. Like, you got a whole different fan base kind of getting an eyeball on it.
And 3 major federations in one set.
Yeah, and then they're going to go Google it and be like, I want this guy as a figure. And they're like, oh, okay, so this guy was in a different, you might open up a completely different, universe for them, which is just the best.
So my question is, I've always wondered this. How old were you when you started Cap?
29.
How does a 29-year-old guy decide they want to open up a wrestling school and then do it so successfully? You had a
very ballsy. I was just the real thing was I wasn't WWE was not booking me. I was under contract, and I just wouldn't know, like, when they would send me. It was so frustrating. They would, sometimes be off for 3 weeks, no contact, and they'd be like, we need you at Raw, and I have to go. And I'm like, this is just like, for me to be a wrestler, like, I live off my preparation, and I had always, I trained with Mikey Whipwreck. I got signed immediately. We did Deep South, OVW. We did that run with Edge where, like, I'm learning every night.
No, you guys don't.
You guys hear that?
I do hear that. What is that? Some mysterious voice. I hear voices in my head.
Yeah, well, maybe Randy's coming.
It's been a running theme for the last like 2 weeks too.
Yeah, so they weren't. I was just so frustrated, and I'd been training my whole career, so I was like driving, to New Jersey to schools, or like in the freezing cold in schools, didn't have heat, and I'm like, this sucks. And I just said it to Pat Buck, like, man, I wish I had school. And he goes, I'd open one with if you want, Long Island. I was like, you know what? Screw it, let's do it. So it was something that I always wanted to do, but like you said, very ballsy for a 29-year-old to just, a 10-year vet at the time, to just, to go for that, for sure. But the other flip side thing, to answer the second part of your question, what made it so much better is that I wasn't even in like the prime of my career yet. So I'm in there, I'm 40 now, and I'm in there, I'm fucking going balls to wall with these guys, training, and they're in there, like, we're touching each other. I'm not just on the floor pointing and telling them what to do. Like, I'm physically grabbing people and wrestling them and showing them what it really is like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think you can beat that education.
No, and especially in this day, I mean, I know the wrestling school game has been shady at some points and aspects, so it's good to see credible people doing it and whatnot. Because
the Wild West too, man.
It is the Wild West,
providing people a chance to make it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome and it's cool. I mean, track record don't lie. You got a lot of great people that coming out of Cap, and it's awesome to see. And I know Tom got to take his first bump in the Cap ring over here. So,
I think it's cool. We've been very protective of the culture over the past 11 years. That's really it. If you're a good person, you work hard, and you love wrestling, you could be you could be the worst athlete of all time. You could be a creative pro for the rest of your life. That's the qualifications. If you're an exceptional athlete and you work hard and have a good attitude and love wrestling, shit, sky's the limit.
Yeah, no, it's the best.
I think it's your passion that shines through that. I listen to the podcast every week. I've been to so many of your events, as you know, and I could just see how much you actually still love professional wrestling. And you've been in the business now for, like you said, 21 years. How do your eyes change as a watching wrestling as you start studying and becoming a wrestler to where you are now? how you watch the product change? Are you still just the same fan when you get to watch it?
It's tough, and then honestly, that goes away. I'll always love wrestling, and if I didn't, then you guys won't see me anymore doing it. You know, I feel like it's just too bizarre and hard and difficult. If you're, if you don't love it with all your heart, like you could be doing anything else.
Yeah.
That's a lot safer and a lot more time at home. Shit like that. So that I'm just always going to be passionate about it. But when I first started training, I remember being on the apron, and this guy looked at me and goes, "You fucked up, man. You're never going to be able to be a fan again. You're never going to be able to look at it the same way." And that's 100% true. But I'm, from that point, what I knew, fucking to tie up or whatever, you learn as you go, but that innocence of being a fan is gone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, you fanboy in different ways. You wish the best for people, especially people your friends that you care for. Me, fortunately, I have students that I root for, to succeed. You just kind of just see it in those eyes.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. I used to work a couple indies here. I'm friends with Robert Anthony, and I was doing his stuff.
Even doing that, even just helping out and working,
it's
backstage or whatever, you're gonna just see shit in a different light.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I try to, as I'm watching, it's hard to suspend the belief a little bit, but you still get it, and you still there's still moments, and that's what I love the most is you always get those it's the best. But
I remember when Matt won the IC title, I was at WrestleCon all day, and then we got a little suite that High Spots put us up in, and I watched it with a bunch of the guys and Cabana and Chris Hero, and Matt won the belt, and I truly didn't know if he was winning or not, and I fucking went, I stood up, it felt great for my friend, but also in that moment I felt good to be man, I really let myself just be a fan of this and let it play out and watch, which was amazing.
Yeah, it's the best. I remember we were at an AEW show, and Tom came in for the when Punk came back, but Robert Anthony was wrestling Joey Janela in the dark match, and I've known him for 10, 12 years, something like that. It was seeing that, I know his wrestling at the United Center was a bucket list thing for him. Those are those moments, man. And it was just oh, this is so badass.
Human moments, right?
Yeah.
So about 10 years ago, where I work, we had actually TNA wrestling there, and their locker room is right across from where I entered the casino. And I heard them discussing planning a match, and I just cover my ears oh my God, I can't hear this.
That was those tapings up there, right?
Yeah. I had to get out because I didn't want to hear people discussing a match and what was going to happen. So
if you get closer and closer, the innocence is gone. And even I think, dare I say, too much shoot interviews and whatever.
Of course,
podcasts, that ticks away at the innocence too.
Oh, 100%. I love for years we didn't know any of the backstage stuff, and then you might hear it later on. Now we're getting it right away, and it's no, I don't want to hear this now. I want to hear this.
I do agree with that. I think sometimes I'm okay with it. What the business become everyone's going to say everything, but give it a 3-month window to after it happened. We don't need the WrestleMania doc about what happened on that Monday.
Exactly.
Let it breathe a little bit. I think that's the happy medium of everything that's going on, because the business just changed. I'm not trying, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube here, and I'm fine with that, because I don't, I want people to enjoy my performances, but I want them to invest in me as a human being, not to sit back and be man, Brian Myers is a real piece of shit. I'd rather be going home in the car going, man, he did a great job playing a piece of shit tonight. He did a great job, making me believe that he was, that would be a better way to look at it.
Yeah.
How
absolutely.
do you feel the podcast, has that impacted your career and the fans in a way that they look at you different now?
Yeah, I think greatly. And I think it just along the lines of what I just said, I think Matt and I's fans now are fans of us as human beings. They don't care if we're a good guy, bad guy, 100%. What gear we wear. They're rooting for us as individuals, just to succeed, because they know how much we love the business. I think that's more or less our fan base now, because we've let them so in, what do people not know about us anymore? We put it all out there,
Yeah,
it's so true, because with the Major Pod Group and listening to the podcast, we root for you guys. We're happy when you guys are happy,
right,
when it has nothing to do with wrestling. We're excited.
It's a great feeling. It's it's the same way my high school buddies wish the best for me. It's we have you guys and have drinks with you guys. We don't act like we're above anybody, and we just have let everyone in. But I'd rather that. I'd rather you guys all root for me as an individual than
100%.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I had my wife make you a baby blanket when your second baby was born, Met colors. I'm like, I have to have you do this.
I
So
love it.
we just get happy for you guys. And it's again the group on Facebook. It's just like a personal group. It's just and everybody helps each other out in there. It's
Right.
become
Another
such
thing
a
that
community.
there was no like real vision for that. We didn't know that was what it would become. Right. It was
Yeah.
just an amazing organic thing that has been.
No,
A safe place
listen,
to like buy, sell, and trade. We're like, considering how
100%.
many people are in there, the minor incidents we've had over the years in that department of all the transactions that go on and all the people helping each other out, finding shit, it's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive. That's one of the I've never bought things from secondary online. I was always afraid to, and then ego was like, oh man,
very, very, very rarely did I ever
yeah.
do that for the group. Yeah,
But ego was like, get in the podcast group, man. He's like, you'll love it. So I signed up, and I was like, I fell in love, man. I met a lot of great people, including Tom here, and it's just like it's been nonstop. It's the best morning check-in. Like you wake up, I go on the page after I get my kids off to school, and I'm like, all right, and everybody's just so nice to each other. It's a very, very, such a safe place to just talk shit and hang out.
Toxic about
Yeah. Nothing gets in the way. And even when times get crazy and stuff like that, like it's still it stays in its lane. You know what I mean?
Shout out Billy Peck, who does a lot of the controlling in there to make sure of that. Yeah.
He's amazing at what he does. He really is.
Yeah.
So we play a little game with our guests called a 10 count showdown, where we just fire 10 questions at you. There's no wrong answers. There's just your answers, your opinions, what you feel about this. So let's just play that game. You ready?
Sure.
Yeah. Upped it.
All right.
I told you, I was like, we were right before we were recording. I was like, did I make a bumper for that? I think I made a bumper for that.
All right, Mike, you start with number one.
Yes. Okay. Number one. This is the standard here. Hasbro or LJN?
I'm going to go Hasbro just because that's more the wheelhouse of what I grew up with. Obviously, very, vivid memories of both growing up, but Hasbro's what were on the shelves that I look forward to and that excitement, like of, actively collecting. So they're number one.
Yeah, I dig it.
What ultimate edition figure do you want Mattel to make that hasn't been done yet?
Ultimate that hasn't been done. It's just like, man, we need some more signees is what we need. I feel like we've just been choking on Brett's and Hogan's and Sean's. And what's left? That's a great question. We're even getting HTM soon, so I don't know, man.
I know.
Yeah. It's crazy to think. I was talking about it like APA last week when we were talking about Ultimates, because it's like they're great. They would look great, and
pretty cool.
Get the acolytes and you give them the T-shirts.
I actually kind of don't. The Ultimates aren't my favorites because Mattel already, to me, kind of skimps out on like. Broski talks about a lot, the meatiness of these dudes, and then the Ultimates always tend to get shortchanged on like pecs and quads, and it's not
I get that,
enough, so
well, sometimes it just doesn't flow, man.
Maybe some kind of like brothered out ECW Terry Funk with the striped tights and an Ultimate.
I would love ECW Terry Funk is not, I think we could use a little bit more. We always could use more Terry Funks, right?
Right, of course. I mean,
and more ECW figures as well.
Damn right.
The what they have to draw from is not a lot.
Yeah,
we got so many Sandmans this year, and we got a million RVDs, and
thankfully,
Science Taboo's legacy. That'd be amazing.
No, I would love to see that. I mean, even Mikey Whipwreck too. Like, talk about colorful characters. There's so many ECW talents that are just
there's a lot
off the table. All right, Attitude Era or Ruthless Aggression Era?
Man, that's tough because I think as a fan, Attitude Era obviously was more popular and cool, but as a wrestler, I think Ruthless Aggression stuff is better wrestling. if that makes sense.
I totally agree with you.
I think bell to bell, you're getting way better matches.
Yeah, everything was a blow up spot in the Attitude Era.
That era was punching and kicking.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
the show wasn't ending in chaos, and it wasn't really ending.
it was
you know,
fine, but it's just like a moment in time. Yeah,
no, absolutely.
If you had to tell fans to go and watch one match of yours, what would it be?
Oh, fun question, man. I was really proud of main event Bound for Glory. You know, it's the TNA's biggest pay for the year last year. Wound up being Chris Bay's like pretty much last match. Took a lot of spectacular bumps. It was a spectacle. You know, Jeff painted the ladders and chairs and tables for weeks leading up to that. You know, like literally like homework. And obviously the Hardys are just they've changed TNA in such a positive way and just, you know, made our houses incredible and just they're just great dudes and fun to be around, and their legacy, you know, speaks for itself. So that's been just incredible. So to be out there with them in the main event, the biggest show of the year, with Eddie, who's my best friend, my favorite tag partner I've ever had, you know, so there's a lot of things about it that will be special to me.
It's cool.
That's awesome.
I dig it. All right. If you could have any wrestler, past or present, as a guest on the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, who would you choose?
It's Vince. Vince has always been my number one.
My God. That would be so good.
I've never talked about this on the show, but I've definitely talked about this with Broski. Like, that's my number one. I want to ask him about the original LJN deal, and if he thought, you know, what was his original thoughts about toys, period, and getting a hold of all this, you know, and because that changed the business, right? Especially, you know, we know Remco's might have preceded them by like a couple weeks, so I just would have loved to know, you know, what the mindset was and the history of it, right?
Vince would be such a good get.
Why he put himself in the line?
I had to.
I'd just get them all.
I wish I can remember when I got my Remcos compared to when I got my LJNs, because there was a little store in Staten Island called Smiling Sunnies that was just like ringside, everything before Toys R Us. So I got all my LJNs there. The day they came out, I was at a store getting the first set of LJNs. So I wish I remembered when I got the Remcos. If it was
right. I mean, because there's that timeline of that the deal got sniped, right? So they were supposed to be made by them. So I'm not sure.
It's crazy.
It's very tight though. It's all 84 bleeding into 85. So
yeah, steel cage match or a ladder match?
Ladder match all day.
Wow, really?
More like it. More room for creativity. Steel cage matches look cool, but I don't know if they really ever kind of pay off.
I feel like it must be the nostalgia thing growing up in the 80s.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't have ladder matches yet.
Cool.
So I was always excited.
But I also feel like cage match, you got to get blood.
Yeah.
Really make it epic, you know. So
and that was my thing. I as a kid, steel cage match, we're getting blood.
Right.
Then that kind of went away, and we're like, what's the purpose of a steel cage match if we're not getting blood?
I mean, really, keep outside interference out, right?
Yeah. In theory.
That's right. I almost saw how to put the top on there.
Which still didn't keep people out, which was wild. All right. Soft goods, entrance gear, or molded plastic?
I'm really not a fan of soft goods. They have to be like exceptional for me to be, you know, like a Power Town Broski robe. I go, okay, I get it. But mostly, you know, not great. I hate bleeding onto my figures.
Yes,
that's a big pet peeve of mine. So that right away is reason for me to be like, yeah.
Feel like they're getting better with it.
At this point, shirts are the only things that I really would accept as soft goods. You know, that's necessary. Yeah. Oh, soft goods like jeans or on a wrestling figure or something, that is just bleh.
You don't like the shorts on Stone Cold?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, that's like a doll to me. That's too much soft goods. I don't know.
It's very Barbie-esque.
I also pre-ordered that from Walmart, so I don't know if I'll ever see it. But
yeah, Godspeed. I have another one if you need one.
What is the most ridiculous thing you've ever done to get a figure?
Man, I don't know. I mean, the legendary Matt lying to me to have his dad go get. That's what he did. I was the victim in all that whole story.
That was actually his answer when he was on.
I mean, he faked that he was upset too that they were gone. It's like he really committed to the lie. I don't know. I mean, that dude Henry Sugars, who's kind of disappeared in the group, he was like, he went out of the way in the heart of COVID to get New Jack to sign that no news figure for me. When I
Wow.
purposely told him not to mention that it was different because I didn't want him to want it or like, you know. And he drove pretty far, like in the Carolinas, to meet up with him for lunch and get it signed. And then New Jack wound up passing like only like a month or two after that. So
That's crazy.
super grateful about that whole timing and everything and the journey that he went on like for me.
Yeah,
So that was a lot. And then
I'll take
honestly,
it.
that would be the missing piece to my collection, like that I don't think I'd ever get, you know.
Yeah,
If I didn't
that's
have it.
crazy, man.
That's
Yeah, I
true.
mean, how many New Jack figures signed are out there? You know what I mean? Like it's.
I mean, I have all 4, but that no one even has this New Jack no news figure mint on card like I do. Like, so how would you know?
Yeah,
It
it's
would have been
insane,
impossible.
man.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, you got a one-way ticket to any toy aisle in history. What year are you landing in, and what are you stocking up on?
Probably like 91 Toys R Us, just because it will be the biggest aisle. I loved
Yeah.
KB as a kid, and I probably went there more than Toys R Us because we wound up getting one in my town even, but just for the epicness of how big that aisle could feel sometimes, and when it's like fully stocked.
Yeah.
I don't know if kids will ever get to know that feeling these days because it's just really, no such thing.
No, it's
Never-ending
crazy.
pegs, man. Just every genre just had so much. Like,
I mean, wrestling
awesome
had its
feeling.
own aisle, basically.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. It's hard to explain to people too. Like my kids, I've taken them to Toys R Us before they closed out and everything, but I mean, they were babies at the time, so it's like I got them at Ray,
Right.
so that's all that matters to me,
Yeah.
right? But it was like they did like the little pop up one here. And it was
Not
cool to
the
take the
same.
kids too, but it's like
Yeah.
it's all main event figures. What are we doing, guy?
Yeah.
I mean, even as an adult going to Toys R Us, I would get excited going to the aisle. Like you'd start doing that walk where you go a little faster as you get
Even
closer.
in Canada, where they're still there, and they're not the same, but the vibe is there.
Yeah.
Just to see it, like in the car, it's like you get that jolt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
They
miss
go- so
that.
It's not the same. You're walking into a Walmart or a Target, and you just hope they have something to see.
It's
And then a
not
lot
the
of
same.
times, it's a strikeout. So
No.
all right.
Always by the bait.
Last question. Own every official San Francisco Toy Maker ECW figure mint on card or get a brand new line with full articulation and accessories.
No, I'm going sentimental with mine and keeping them. Yeah. I love 6-inch articulated modern wrestling figures, but back to bring this whole conversation full circle, I think the sentimental attachment to things when you're younger is irreplaceable, right? You know, that I mean,
100%.
I tell a story all the time. Like when the retros came out, I was like, oh my God. And Gallows Kid was the biggest wrestling figure fan. And I was like, does he love the retros? He's like, no, he thinks there's these fat little squatty figures. They mean nothing to him. And I'm just like, oh, you're right. Because all he knows is elites and all this awesome shit. Like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would he care about these figures that don't compare to his figures? But it's because he didn't grow up on it, like we did. And we know.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
why
it's hard to go back in time, right?
Exactly.
Once you've adjusted to something crazy like 42 points of articulation, a bone cruncher just doesn't have the same vibe as as you think it would.
It's still fun. It's just,
Yeah.
it's not the superior item
100%.
That's why I feel like, and again, it's the whole nostalgia thing, but I swear LJNs are the most playable wrestling figures because they're so big. But like,
that's your fucking childhood imagination speaking. So God bless you, but
the hill he's gonna die on, but it's okay.
I gotta say, Broski, when we are designing him, Broski is always like, well, can he do this move? I'm like, who, Broski? No one's playing with a big rubber guy. Literally no one. I appreciate your thinking like that.
Yeah.
It's cool that that's still where his brain goes, but
it's part of the love for it all, though.
Right.
Like if you're not thinking in those terms, then Tom's not going to be a happy customer because he is playing with it. So that it's the thing. You see all these other companies like Zombie and Shell and all this stuff like making toys. It's great to see, but nobody has like the passion and the heart behind you guys. You guys are killing it in a completely different ball game, and it's so awesome to see, man, because like there's the things like the big rubber guys or Tom's shtick. He loves them. Like I love seeing all the characters you guys are doing, all this stuff. It's amazing to see the LJN line like kind of continuing on for future generations, for the old collectors and everything. Like I got maybe a handful of big rubber guys, but they're fantastic. Quality's
Thanks, man.
off
Yeah,
the charts. Love the Ric Flair and the
been
you
awesome.
know, there's
And we
just
got
so
an
much
awesome
good
team,
shit
you
out
know, like
there.
TTD, Ryan Beatty, these guys are just like ridiculously talented. You know, Connect does a lot of freaking leg work. He probably does the hardest work of anybody, you know, doing all the things he does behind the scenes to make it work. So
Yeah.
it's been a
Every
wild
time
ride.
Every time I get a new one, it's my new favorite because, like I said, I just got the Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Holy smokes! You talk about
Oh
chucking a
my
figure
God.
at somebody. If you chuck that at somebody with the shoulder pads on,
Oh, you're
it's going to
dead.
be blood.
The
Those things are sharp, but they're
Yeah.
amazing. They
Yeah.
really
best
are.
text message to wake up to is Tom, dude, my house stinks like big rubber guys, and I've never been happier.
Pretty awesome.
I have them on my
Like,
hut right now, and I'm like waiting for my wife to say something. I just like they look so good the way they're posed there, and I'm like, maybe she
Right,
won't say
the
anything.
ability, man, especially those new big bad ones, like they're meant to be posed like in front of each other. Man, it just came
They
out
look great.
freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, it's so cool, man.
We got a ton of stuff today that you know we have to sift through when they send us prototypes. They go straight to TDD, and he sent a ton of photos. You know, Rick Martel and Missy and Gary Von Erich, Brody. You know, so it's cool to watch the process as it goes. You know, be a part of it.
Do you have a whole new
Absolutely.
respect for the toy makers who do this now?
Oh yeah, and like I guess that's another reason. Like people are like, Power Town, where's my figures? Whatever. I'm like, man, this kid is not easy, guys. This shit is expensive, not easy. You know, these unforeseen mistakes, you know, are going to come at you, and you're just putting out fires, and you know,
That's why I feel like you guys do it right because you're so transparent the whole way.
I think,
like,
I mean, dude, trust me, we still get the angry emails from, you know, not everyone listens to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, right?
Yeah.
So we still get the crazy emails and the angry bullshit and whatever, but that's just the way it's going to go. You know, not everyone understands. If you listen to our show, I'm sure, like you said, you'll have a little more understanding of what's going on, what goes into this. I mean, so even like the major stars, like we're almost coming up on a year on these where we're just like, they're not, the ones we just got, we think are it, but like they just weren't up to our standards, and we're like, we can't come out of the gate with this new line and them not be impressive for people because we'll be dead in the water. Like, what's the point of that? And then we've spent a lot of money and time, and we think we finally got it. So
looking forward to the major stars. They look awesome. I love the concept. I'm a sucker for accessories and then little figures, so it's like it's gonna be awesome, you know.
And then you show off Blues Brothers, and I'm like, hell yeah, like that's right in my wheelhouse. And I feel like the major stars, just from what I've seen in the pictures, feel like what Funko should have been. Like, they feel
just
more.
think Funkos are not as detailed enough, you know.
No, they lack the vibe, like, you know.
I feel like getting big rubber guys and the major stars. I feel like one day I'll walk into a Target and see them in the back aisle where they have all the collectibles.
Which is obviously the ultimate goal for any of these little toy companies, you know.
No, but it'd be awesome addition to the NECA section.
I think the novelty toy section in Target and Walmart, you know, near the electronics, that would be the ultimate goal for sure.
It would be awesome, man.
And I love how you guys are starting to mix in modern day characters, the Hardys. You got Ethan Page. I love that figure. We're getting a Shotzi now.
Right.
I love the mix, and I hopefully we see that a little more because eventually
you have to. That's just, you know,
we're gonna run out of holes to fill in eventually.
You know, we're running out of anchors, if you will. You know?
100%.
Get too excited about Lanny Poffo, you know. I don't think
listen, our good listener Don the Bomb Smith has been clamoring for a Lanny Poffo figure from any line possible for the last 5 years, and like you guys put the announcement out. He disappeared for like 2 days. We thought he blew up from the news.
Self-combusted over the genius.
As soon as you guys started Big Rubber Guys, he's like, I need a Lanny Poffo. I need a Lanny Poffo. So his dream came true when you made a Genius. Which again, I can't wait to get that.
It's funny, you never know, you know, what's gonna hit. Sometimes it's tough, you know. Like we thought, like, oh, Brooklyn Brawler home run. And Brooklyn Brawler did not perform that great, you know.
Wow.
It's exceptional figure, but I guess
I pop for that. I mean, I pop for everyone, but like I never imagined a Brooklyn Brawler. I was like, yes. So
you just never know.
No, those niche characters, they're the little holes that we feel like are never going to be filled in our collections. Like those are the important pieces, you know.
It's worth it. It's just, you know, a matter of like, you know, you want to make thousands of something. You're making hundreds. You're like, this one's kind of
and that's another thing too. Is like I try to tell people a lot, especially in the collecting universe, is like we're a much smaller bubble than we think we are. You know, like even with I remember people were like, "Oh, they're inflating the numbers on the AEW figures," and I was like, "Are they though?" Because I don't know if there's really 3,000 people that are actively looking for so and so figure. You know, it's like we gotta humble ourselves.
But you throw that sticker on it, and then everybody thinks it's rare, so we all want it.
They go bonkers.
Like, think about like how minimal the wrestling properties are that for Mattel and Jazzwares. Like Mattel, monster licenses that they have under their umbrella. You know, Barbie, Hot Wheels, all this stuff. Jazzwares, Pokemon, Squishmallow, which is like the #1 toy in the world. You know? So sometimes the wrestling stuff is going to trickle, to the wayside. Like it's just not as important.
No, absolutely. It's
it is.
For us, it's still real.
I wasn't saying that.
So where would you like to see CollectMajor go? Is there any direction, new type of toy you'd want to see them do in the future?
For me, and then there's zero development on this. I personally would like to make ECW original San Francisco Toy Maker, Easter egg people the same way that you just kind of said what the big rubber guys are. I would love to make Doring and Roadkill and Mikey Whipwreck.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
That down the line would be super fun for me, and I'm pretty confident in TTD that's something that he could kind of visualize, and get done. But it's down the line. We have way too much going on.
Would Spike Dudley be?
We're literally like trying to acquire like huge properties and licenses. Not really time for my ECW passion project.
Would Spike Dudley be the first little rubber guy? Would that be the terminal?
I'm excited. I love it all.
We need Spike Dudley. Yeah.
Absolutely. Man, thank you so much.
Spike got cheated in the original one. Spike, Mikey, Doring, and Roadkill, I think, were ones that could have
needed
in there.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
Need more ECW figures. Absolutely. We need that stage. Let's give us that entrance ramp and a nice scale toy somewhere. Like somebody's got to make that. Like that wouldn't be bad for like a Mattel Creations.
Yeah, they need like a big name for it to come with, though.
Yeah.
It's not going to be New Jack. It could be. You never know. He's in the game. Yeah,
that gives me a little hope.
I'm curiosity is going to kill me on that one. I'm super excited. I hope they do the New Jack in the game right, and I hope it does lead to a merchandising contract. Man,
it's a step in the right direction for sure.
It is. I think having Sandman being put out is a good step in the right. Like they see that it sells a little bit, so there's like
Sandman came with like barbed wire and like crazy beer cans at Master Hill. I was like, this is all pretty sweet.
Badass. Yeah.
I guess Vince isn't there anymore, so we can't stop it. They're a little more open with the new reign in WWE, I guess.
The PG thing is that kind of, but it's still a kid's toy. That didn't even really change in the Attitude Era when shit was crazy. So
yeah,
that's true.
We were still getting wild stuff.
Yeah.
Man, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Appreciate it so much. Why don't you plug the podcast, everybody, where to follow you if they're not already?
Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. TNA Wrestling on Access Plus and Access TV and TNA Plus. Calhoun's, guys. The big
I'm coming.
Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, Raven, in-house, a photo op in front of the original, not just something we're making, the real ECW brick wall. Comes with your ticket. So that's about as cool as it gets.
It doesn't get much cooler than that, honestly.
I still have to check to see if the Red Sox are home that weekend because I've never been to Fenway.
I feel like I can't. I'm mixing up my dates, but I looked into this, but I feel like maybe they are actually, because I can't go because I'm taking the kids to a concert the night before. But
I need to hit Fenway up. Big baseball fan, but I'm a Yankee fan. And you have our Soto, who's finally heating up for you guys.
I knew it was bound to happen, guys.
Oh yeah, come on, like new contract. That what it's going to be like the first couple of months.
Yeah,
so. He's Soto. He didn't lose his talent overnight. Just switch him.
I'm dead in the water. I'm a Cubs fan. We're just leaving it.
The Cubs are doing great.
Are they?
Yeah,
good?
They're having a nice
glad to hear.
Yeah. I got Swanson on my fantasy team, so I'm not complaining.
Hell yeah.
Armstrong, we traded.
I have him too.
It was amazing. Yeah.
I have him in my home run league. I never expected him to hit so many home runs.
Right.
So there you go. Happy. Thank you again, Brian. Again,
no problem, guys. Thank you guys for spreading the good word of the community and Fig Talk.
Hey, listen, again, If it's not for you guys, we're not here. We're not friends, and we have developed a very strong friendship over the
That's
years.
cool.
So
Yeah, we tolerate
for
each
that.
other. No.
we send each other boxes of figures all the time and stuff.
All the time. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's the best, man. We appreciate you guys so much.
We really do. So thank you again, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, for Mike, for Brian, for Tom, FigGuys out.
Thanks for watching FigGuys. Please like, follow, subscribe, and until next time.